Okay, so quick disclaimer I have to mention up top. During our screening of this movie, there was a bunch of teenagers that were incredibly disruptive for maybe the first 20-30 minutes of this movie, so that might have an overall effect of my final thoughts. I might get some stuff wrong. So, public service announcement. If you're going to go out to a theatre production, a cinema, or pictures, or whatever you want to call it, sit down and shut up. No one cares about your inner thoughts. No one wants to hear any sort of monologues. Stop running up and down. Sit down and shut up and let people enjoy the movie. Do not be a disturbance. It's really not that hard to achieve. But anyway, welcome back to the channel. This is my uneducated opinion on the movie Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to try and keep this video as spoiler-free as possible because I'm sure there's other people out there like me who have taken a little bit longer to go out and see this movie. It's been out for over a month, so thankfully it's not been slapped on a streaming service, but you don't have to worry about any spoilers here. Hopefully. So it has been mentioned by Disney and 20th Century that this will be a part of a new trilogy that they are making. The director is Wes Ball, who has previously done the Maze Runner trilogy, and from what I remember, they were pretty good. The writing of this was done by Josh Friedman, who has been helping James Cameron with the Avatar sequels, and is also going to be writing the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. One of the main goals in making this movie was it to be as accessible as possible to a newer audience, and I feel as though they achieved that. I feel you can go in completely blind in watching this, as it doesn't seem imperative to watch the previous installments. This is due to this movie being set generations after the events of War for the Planet of the Apes and with Caesar. However, I don't know why you would pass up that opportunity to go and watch one of the best trilogies to come out in recent years. That seems like a complete mad thing to do. Now, the thing that I love first and foremost about this movie is the way they go about the legacy of Caesar, where he and his teachings are told in a religious sense. After sacrificing himself for the future, it is mentioned that the apes are migrating around, and some lose connections to that history, whereas others are taking the history and interpret Caesar's teachings in more extreme ways. The new apes that we follow are a part of an eagle training clan, which includes Noah, played by Owen Teague, Suna, played by Lydia Peckman, and Anaya, played by Travis Jeffrey. Throughout this journey, we also encounter the likes of Raka, yet another legendary orangutan played by Peter Macon, Freya Allen as the mysterious Echo, May, and the main antagonist Proximus Caesar, wonderfully portrayed by Kevin Durand. I honestly cannot get enough of that guy in these movies recently. Let's start off with the main protagonist, Noah, who I think has a pretty solid start. I like how he was someone who was unaware about the history with Caesar and progressively learns about what the original teachings were, with him also starting out as someone who is looking forward to their own ceremony within his clan, so being thrust into this newfound teachings and knowledge is quite refreshing to see. He carries a lot of curiosity to learn more about the past, which allows him to grow and questions what is right. It'll be interesting to see where his character is going after seeing where he ends up. Freya Allen, I think, does a decent job. She gives a lot of insight into what the world is like now for echoes or humans, and her character even has a few pleasant surprises along the way. Without giving away too much, there is a certain aspects of human nature that is discussed, and her character May even proves those points right. I like how they continue the exploration of certain traits that both the humans and apes are constantly accusing each other of, where it's only really the extremes on each side that are the ones who play into those. It wasn't until looking at Freya where I was reminded that she actually plays Ciri in the Witcher series. I knew I had some sort of recognition for her. Now, it did take me a little bit of time to get invested in the character Raka, but that was probably on more with that annoying group of teenagers that was in the screening. Bloody youths. So it wasn't the fact that they were replacing my favourite boy in Maurice or anything like that, but once I got into it, I really loved Raka. Peter Macon does a fabulous job in playing this Obi-Wan type character, in being the teacher of the real life lessons of Caesar and showing compassion to the humans when they make their presence known. There is a lot of caution taken when he is first introduced, but then provides so much needed warmth in a really important time of the story, and it also massively helps when he is a really funny character, so that's a bonus for me. I really appreciate that this movie is continuing to use the pattern of the window as this symbol of Caesar. It was in the previous trilogy, but I really do like that they have kept it up. For something to be so simple to be used as this emblem of togetherness is fantastic. I would say though that this might be a little nitpick, so nothing too drastic, but I just wanted to mention it real quick. There are times that the apes do speak a little bit of broken English at times, but then there are other times where they just speak it really fluently. I did find it a little bit confusing, but it might be just when learning every other language, that you might just be really good at it in one sense, but then struggle in a different sense. So it's whatever. Now, the character that I was looking forward to the most after seeing him in the trailers has got to be Proximus Caesar, and I'm happy to say that he is absolutely my favorite part out of this entire movie. They are ruthless and have this incredible aura about them when they are first introduced, which is present through every other scene that he is in. Not only does he steal apes from nearby clans, but he also steals every single scene that he is in. Proximus conducts the teachings of Caesar in this incredibly warped way, where he is his self-proclaimed king and abducting clans from all around, forcing them to do tasks in which he helps them in this evolution of apes. Again, it's not until looking this up that I noticed that Proximus Caesar was a bonobo. And does that make it bad that I couldn't differentiate between a bonobo and a chimpanzee? Does that make me a primatist? What is it with this franchise and making bonobos the villains? All they want to do in nature, really, is just to bone each other. One of the other major presences throughout the movie has got to be the right-hand ape to Proximus in being Silver, the silverback gorilla. Portrayed brilliantly by Eka Danville, he is the muscle, and I'm pretty sure actually has more screen time than Proximus Caesar himself. We only hear of Proximus mainly through Silver for the first half of this movie, so it complements each other very well in us being afraid of this ape that we've never seen yet, but holds so much power amongst all the other apes. I'm going to mention something that is not actually present within this movie at all, but it could be considered a very minor spoiler if you care, so you have been warned. As this story is about the teachings of Caesar being skewered in different ways, I was wondering during the movie whether we'd be seeing some of Koba's influence amongst some of the apes. I'm sure that there were some apes still about after the events of War for the Planet of the Apes that still upheld Koba's influence and viewpoints, so maybe that could be something that they explore in the future, maybe not. But then again, that might just add too much to a story that is already pretty cohesive, and I'm not a writer, so don't listen to me in the slightest. I ain't got a clue what I'm talking about. It's just something that I thought whilst watching the movie. Now, I want to mention the CGI in this, and straight up, it is great. All the apes look like apes how it's meant to. The scenes look fantastic, and I love how everything looks withered and decrepit. But after coming off of the previous installments of Dawn of Planet of the Apes and War specifically, you do notice an ever so slight downgrade. I guess that is the disadvantage of watching the previous trilogy. If it's not to their standard, then it is going to be noticeable. I'm in two headspaces because I know comparison is the thief of joy, and I shouldn't really be comparing the two. However, I was thinking that if you're going to be continuing the franchise, and I do notice these things, I thought best to just mention it. Throughout, I was concerned if I was going to be fully invested with these characters come the end of the movie, and even though the final conflict is where things starts to pay off, I feel those concerns started making me think about the runtime of this movie, and it is long, and it certainly does feel long in some cases. Previous installments has felt like a complete breeze when watching them, whilst they have also clocked in similar run times to this one, in that being around 2.5 hours. So I would probably put that down to more in the first act dragging, or maybe being a few pacing issues. I may be getting the technical terms wrong, since most of the scenes present did have a purpose, and I'm not in any position to say that they should have done this and they should have done that. This is an uneducated opinion, so I know nothing. And again, those bloody youths might have contributed to me feeling that this movie was a little bit longer than what it normally would have been to everyone else that didn't have any sort of disturbances. But for me, the movie did really start to pick itself up once it got to the second act, and I was fully invested. So overall, whilst I don't think this is the best movie out there, it is still a really solid start, and they have certainly piqued my interest in the direction they will be taking this new trilogy. So the budget of this movie was $160 million, and at the time recording this, the box office currently sits at $374.5 million, and I'm really happy that this is still being played in cinemas and it's showing to have legs still. I'm glad that I was able to see this on the big screen, barring those bloody U's in the background ruining the experience. So yeah, I'd recommend anyone watching this on the big screen while you've still got time, rather than it being just dumped straight onto the streaming services and it just being forgotten about. And with every other uneducated opinion video, let's look at the trailer, see if it's any good.
Apes will learn. I will learn.
That was a really solid trailer, and I really like that they used Proximus Caesar in most of the trailer, certainly in the first half where he is just the voiceover. And I hope people aren't too disappointed to know that I've just mentioned that Proximus Caesar's only in the second half of the movie, but I really do think it pays off with Kevin Durant's performance. He does a stellar job at making you remember him as one of the best parts of this movie. And that's about it. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a like and comment down below what you thought of the movie. Did you like it? Did you find it a little bit disappointing? disappointing? What could I do better for next time in these videos? Share around with your friends and family if you think they'd enjoy this sort of content. If you want to see more of me, I talk about movies and TV shows and also play games on twitch.tv/Rizikins. Currently going through the Dark Souls games and I am suffering so much. I also play co-op games with my girlfriend Jem and my good friend Sarah Razzie, and we hope to see you there. Alright, take care. Thank you everybody so much for watching again, and see you in the next video.